Well, hello everyone. Going to give this a few moments. Oh my God, my hair's sticking up like, oh, I gotta let the dog in. It's barking. Come on. Come on in. We need to put a doggy door in there. All right, I'm back. So I wanted to give a few minutes because I didn't announce this ahead of time. Get a sip of soda and we'll get started. So today the decision I think was today. I think the decision was over the weekend, but today I first learned about it, that there was a victory in the Judicial Committee for Delaware. So it's really nice for once for something to turn out right. So let me try to pull up. I should have had this up ahead of time, but if you're wondering why I'm all dressed up, is I'm really just getting home for the first time from my work day. We went right to a Libertarian Party of Colorado meeting immediately after work, and I literally just walked in the door. But I had the wording here, and I am trying to find it for you guys. Just 1 second here. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? You know what? I'm going to have to, I have it in my private messages, I think. Yeah, I know. I needed to be more prepared. No, I actually didn't. So it's on the LNC list, I think. So let's go back here. Remember, this is a participatory show. So while you are waiting for me to find this, please put your comments into chat. And I know I had so many emails today. Here it is. There is a screenshot. I know. Where'd it go? Now this is crazy. Here it is. Okay, great. So here's the decisions from the Judicial Committee. It says, Mary Ruitt said the package of opinions will follow within the next few days. But motion number 1, events in the October 1st and November 20th Delaware meetings were not valid. That's the done right without notice meetings that Will McVeigh and his happy band of coup masters had tried, and thus did not change the leadership and rules of the Libertarian Party of Delaware. That passed. 4 yes, 1 no, which is Vermin Supreme, who's completely useless on the Judicial Committee. Abstentions were Moulton and Robinson. I'm going to need DeFrank Robinson abstained on all of these motions, and I don't understand that. But I trust him enough not to think badly of him for it. He had his reasons, I'm sure, and I would really love to talk to him about that. Motion 2, the LNC's actions culminating in the December 5th motion constructively disaffiliated the rightful Delaware affiliate. And that is 6 yes. And it's weird that Vermin Supreme, now I'm understanding why he voted yes on that. He thinks the rightful Delaware affiliate was the McVeigh affiliate. What a piece of work. 6 to no, 0 no's, and Robinson abstained. Now I'm understanding his vote, now that I'm reading this out loud. And then motion 3, thus we rule to reinstate the LP's Delaware affiliate, recognizing its officers, Mr. Hines as chair, and other duly elected members, including Dr. Lepore and Mr. Casey, chosen by that affiliate under its properly adopted rules as they stood prior to the events of October 1st. Yes, 4, 2 no's, Supreme and Moulton, and abstain of Robinson. I have not been impressed with Chuck Moulton on this JC. But I never questioned Chuck's character. I just have very much questioned his judgment this term. Do not question his character. I know Chuck very well, and he's certainly not a corrupt person or anything like that. All right. Do I think Supreme is sincere or partisan? I think he's simply partisan. Um, Bren the Wizard says, I've been glued to Ottawa live streams all day. I've been like at work. I don't even know what's going on in the rest of the world. Bren, the people were reinstated. The board. Now, don't get this confused with Massachusetts. There's still 47 unjustly expelled members of Massachusetts. But the board, the rightful board of Delaware, was reinstated. Will McVeigh and his merry band of coup masters are gone. Now, you want to hear something ironic. The legitimate board, Mr. Hines and Ms. Lepore, or Dr. Lepore, excuse me, didn't just throw Will McVeigh and the coup masters out. They're giving them a trial like they're supposed to do, LNC, even though it's very, very clear what they did was try to fraudulently seize the party. They're getting a trial. They are suspended pending an actual trial. The LNC could learn something from people with character. But the LNC is losing its shit over this JC decision. You want to know what I had to say about them not liking the JC decision? Boo-hoo. I don't know how that feels. Suck it up, buttercups. That's what you told me, isn't it? Karma is such a bitch. But the JC got it right this time for all the reasons I explained before. I helped write Delaware's brief. I know the arguments. Dr. Lepore also did a great deal of that. So, I'm not taking credit. I assisted. Now, what's funny is now we're coming up on Maine. So first, let's talk about the LNC losing its shit. So the LNC is going, oh my God, they went beyond the scope of their authority. No, they didn't. They did not. They are allowed to review disaffiliation. And when a disaffiliation is not just, what happens? The board gets reinstated. I do not know how we have LNC members that are so, their understanding of our bylaws is a mile wide and an inch deep. And then you got Beth Vest, who, oh my God, like, is she going to write 10 more emails saying the exact same thing? And now the dog wants to go out after it went in. I'm really, Skippy, I'm getting tired of this. You're going to have a doggy door put in here. You need a doggy door. Out, out. Sorry about that. The little wiener dog is very, very insistent. So Aaron Adams now is suggesting that they just ignore the JC decision. Wow. You want to know something, Aaron? Ignoring a JC decision is grounds for removal. If you don't like it, why don't you resign? Now, of course, what's anyone going to do about it if they decide to ignore it? And Erin's personal opinion's her personal opinion. She's free to have it. John Phillips apparently shares that personal opinion, and they are free to have the personal opinion that they don't agree with the JC opinion. Everyone's entitled to that opinion. What they're not entitled to do is use party resources that I help pay for and you help pay for to use their position of privilege to undermine the JC. That's what they don't have the right to do. But they've constantly done this unequal power dynamic. Now, if the LNC officially decides in some kind of like something that could be pointed to as an official decision to ignore the JC decision, I'm appealing it. Because they just don't get to do that. It's our process. I know what it's like to think the JC decision sucks. I thought the JC decision case in my thing sucked. But you see me charging into an LNC meeting and taking my rightful seat? Nope. I realized I have to wait till convention. And that's what you, Ms. Adams, or are you suggesting committing aggression against the members? What you're suggesting is much more arguably aggression than my mean words ever were. John Phillips agrees. And Richard, oh my God, the crybaby. Oh, we can't do anything. I'm not going to do anything else with affiliates because whatever we do is wrong. No, what you did in this case is wrong. Like, just because they found what you did in this case was wrong doesn't mean you can't do anything right. The fact that they found what you did in this case was wrong means there is a right course of action, and it wasn't doing nothing. The fact that they reinstated the board shows that on November 20th, Mr. Longstreth, you should have voted to recognize the rightful affiliate. If you had done that, you wouldn't have an adverse JC decision. Don't you understand that? This isn't difficult. So now they're using their ass-chappedness over being overturned by the JC to refuse to do anything about Massachusetts, when in fact the JC decision should have taught them the exact opposite lesson. But because they don't seem to understand like logical chains, I'm going to explain it here in the hopes that one of them may watch. I doubt it, but at least you guys will know how they don't understand leadership. And thank you for the super chat, Turbo and Guy. I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. And your comment is right on point. Oh, it's on screen already. I keep forgetting that this thing has all my comments on the side here. So let's explain the logical chain. Now, I haven't read the JC opinions because the actual written logic isn't out yet. And it's possible the JC came to the right decision through the wrong means. I may still disagree with their reasoning. I doubt it, but I might. But I'll tell you how I get there, which is how I argued in the brief. The board elected at convention has a strong presumption of being the legitimate board until there's a new annual convention. Any challengers to that, they should be allowed to challenge it, but they have to prove their case. Will McVeigh couldn't prove his case. In fact, he proved he cheated in order to claim that he seized control. Now we have Massachusetts. It's actually flipped in Massachusetts. The board that was elected at last convention is the board that Ashley Shade was formerly chair of. Now we're going to have a rival board come February 26. That rival board has a right to present its case to the LNC that they are the legitimate affiliate. The LNC does not have the option to ignore when someone claims the board has changed. That is not, read my lips, Beth Vest, that is not fucking interfering with the autonomy of an affiliate. If it were, you'd be interfering in the autonomy of an affiliate each time you changed your chair directory after each annual convention. Acknowledging a legitimate change in leadership is not interfering. And sometimes there is a contest as to if there was a legitimate change in leadership, and then the LNC has to examine the case. You can't just stick your head in the sand like fucking ostriches. And if it's unclear at all, you side on the side of the board that was elected at the annual convention. They have the rebuttable presumption of legitimacy. And if it's between convention, if it's outside of the non-disaffiliation zone, which needs to be shortened because it was passed in the bylaws during a time when things couldn't move as fast. Everything was done by U.S. mail. So it's 6 months. That's way too long. It should just be 3 months. But if it's outside of the non-disaffiliation cone, if it's not clear, and it seems like all kinds of egregious actions were done, then you disaffiliate the affiliate and start from scratch. But if it's clear, which does require you to examine the bylaws, you look at it, decide if it's clear, and then you acknowledge the rightful leadership. Otherwise, you have constructively disaffiliated that affiliate. Now, in Massachusetts, the burden of proof in this case is on the members who are going to be electing a new board in February 26. So we have to decide, is it going to be clear? Yes, it is. The affiliates legitimately, under their rights, under their constitution, there's absolutely no question about it, called a special convention for a recall election of the board, which they are entitled to do. In response, the Massachusetts Tyrannitarians mass expelled them in order to deny them their rights. They have just divested themselves of any presumption so that the board that the members elect on February 26th is the rightful board. And that is the board the LNC has to recognize. All this caterwauling that we can't do that because it would be interfering in the autonomy of an affiliate is you are abdicating your jobs and you should resign if you can't handle the heat. Get the fuck out of the kitchen. No, this isn't easy. But this is what you allegedly ran to do. And to just throw up your hand and say, we can't do anything. No, the lesson you should have learned, Richard, is to do the right thing, to do the right kind of examination. The JC didn't bitch slap you guys by saying you were interfering in the autonomy of an affiliate. They bitch slapped you by saying by your non-action, your non-right action, you disaffiliated somebody. You violated somebody's rights. So you think now by doing absolutely nothing rather than by doing the right thing, you somehow, like, that's the right answer? Members' rights are still being violated. I hope to God someday, because, I don't wish evil on people. So I hope to God someday this doesn't happen to you, that somebody will stand up for your rights and do the right thing when your rights are being violated. And on that day, I hope you think back about how you didn't do that for other people. And I hope you are cut to your core with that. Your conscience gets burned because of that. You guys are cowards who won't do the right thing. And instead, to preserve your fragile egos, you're going, oh, well, we disagree with the JC, so we're not going to follow it. Unreal. I'm never going to say again this LNC can't possibly get worse. Because each day, they get worse. They have no backbone. So now it looks like they are going to deny Massachusetts their rightful chance to prove their case to the LNC because they just don't want to handle it. And we'll see another 20 long-winded emails from Beth Vest showing she doesn't understand the basic. She may be a lawyer now, and congratulations to her. Passing law school is tough, but she don't understand the slightest bit about Libertarian Party jurisprudence. And it took me a while. You don't understand this right off. But she's been in the party long enough to know better. This is just absolutely believable. Massachusetts deserves their day. But the fact is, they're going to elect a new board on February 26th. And at that time, because of the LNC, we're going to have two boards in Massachusetts, both claiming to be the legitimate board. So it's going to end up being up to the delegates of convention. So that's why the LNC, that's the excuse they're using. Well, we don't need to do anything because we're just going to leave it up to the delegates at convention. Bitches, it's always up to the delegates at convention, even if you do something. But justice delayed is justice denied. It's always going to be up to the delegates, even if it was a year ago. Every single decision made these past 2 years is subject to review by the delegates at convention. Just because it's closer now than it was a year ago doesn't mean anything. If the delegates at convention disagree with the JC decision in Delaware, they can overturn it. And guess what, bitches? If the delegates at convention disagree with what you did to me, they can overturn that JC decision too. I prefer to just run for re-election, but I have every right if I wanted to, and I still might. I haven't made a decision, but I'm leaning against it. At the very beginning of convention, I could move to have the delegates overturn the JC decision, and I would be immediately restored to my position. Which, looking at the sloppy work product of my alleged replacement, that might be the best thing for the convention, because I'm just like going, oh my God, I sure hope he gets better by then. But we're going to have enough turmoil at this convention that I don't need to cause further turmoil. The election is the next day. Let's just do the election. But LNC, if you don't like the JC decision, make your case to the delegates. But you can't just decide, oh, I don't like it, and then use party assets that these very same people in Delaware are paying for to disrespect them that way. No. And if you can't see the lesson you were supposed to learn, why are you in leadership? You're not leaders. And again, I have to do this qualification all the time. I'm speaking to the LNC as a corporate body. It's not every single person on the LNC, quite obviously. Rich Bowen today and Joshua Smith are trying to get justice for the Massachusetts expelled 47. So obviously I'm not including those two. But we're talking about the supermajority of the LNC, the usual suspects. But at least we can rejoice that Delaware had a good decision. But I can do this for that, but my attention then immediately turns to the people who are wronged in Massachusetts, because I can't forget about them. The LNC might want to forget about them, but I can't. Dennis Pratt says, can you Iron Man their argument against LPD? No, because there is no good argument. There's none. Like, Delaware was so clear, like absolutely crystal clear as the bullshit that happened in New Hampshire. There are cases that aren't clear. Oregon wasn't clear. But no, there's no argument. Their only argument is, wow, we can't interfere. They don't understand what that means. They don't, they're just absolutely inconsistent, because then they could never recognize a leadership change. Recognizing a leadership change at the annual convention would be interfering, according to them, by their logic. And it's also further clear that the national bylaws need to be strengthened. And not in the bullshit way the bylaws committee this time around is screwing around with them. Like, oh, we want to get rid of Roberts. Yeah, that will help protect rights. Just leave the LNC in charge of everything, right? They've proven how trustworthy they are. And I know it's a different LNC next time. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Any LNC can be a bad LNC. You always have to write your rules presuming the worst. And thank you, Sue Seymour, for the super chat. I super appreciate it. And I love the way Restream describes your emoji. So it says Shiba dog with a big smile on his face, tilting his head. But we can rejoice in Delaware. Oh, I have other good news for you. Ms. Tara DeSisto, the everything I disagree with is bigotry DeSisto, apparently has tendered her resignation effective March 31st. And thank you, Richard Strawn, for the super chat. All super chats do go to my reelection campaign, and I'll answer your question in one moment. After I give the Tara DeSisto news. Now, this isn't public knowledge yet, but apparently it was said at a staff meeting by somebody, and I heard it from someone who was present at that staff meeting. But you want to know what? That woman can do a lot of damage in a month and a half. They ought to say to her, thank you for your non-service, pay her till the end of March, and send her on her way. My guess is, and this is sheer speculation, that A, she knew she wasn't going to last past Reno, and she wants to be a delegate in Reno. And when you're a staff member, you're not allowed to be a delegate. Massachusetts' convention is in April. Do you think it's a coincidence that she put her resignation date as March 31st? No. She wants to be a Massachusetts delegation so she can come wreak havoc at the convention. Well, that's going to be an illegitimate delegation, sweetie. I hate to tell you. But yes, but she needs to go now. Today, she called party members that she don't agree with, just because they belong to a caucus she doesn't agree with, cancer, and just used this extremely unlibertarian, by all means necessary type language that is completely and utterly unacceptable. And she appeared, though there is other ways, to be fair, to interpret this. In isolation, I would say my interpretation is unfair. But in context of all of her statements for the past 2-3 months, it's not unfair. If you just saw this statement in isolation, I could see how you could interpret it a different way. But I'm taking a broader context where she had said she would be amenable to reinstating any of the 47 expelled members except Mises Caucus members. So you have a staff member openly discriminating against people just because they happen to belong to a caucus. And she described them all as bigoted anarchists. And then went on to make what appeared to me to be a very general statement about the ideology of anarchy being in the party, where she had said liberty will never succeed because public will always see that as destructive and obnoxious or something like that. And that is actively repudiating the statement of principles, which is agnostic on the end state. Now, some people will say she was just talking about the people in Massachusetts she doesn't like. Well, that's bad enough, but I don't think so. Not in context. In context, I think she was condemning all anarchists. I could be wrong. She certainly was defaming the people of Massachusetts, non-public figures. So I wrote a complaint earlier today. I don't know if it was before or after her resignation, which I didn't know about till this evening. And I sent a copy of it to the party attorney because she's now exposing the party to defamation lawsuits. I don't believe that defamation is a legal cause of action, but that's me. Not everyone thinks that way. And some of the people she defamed might not think that way. And they could sue the party. So I CC'd the lawyer on this one. And that's why the National Party needs to cut her loose now. Pay her the severance to the end of March if you have to, but cut her loose now. And in fact, and this wasn't my motion, though some people will claim it wasn't. My motion was actually much milder. I believe the LP Colorado is going to be calling for her immediate discharge. They're working on resolution language. Because again, look how much damage she did since the beginning of January, which is only a month and a half away. We're going to give her another month and a half to wreak havoc in this party as somebody whose salary you're paying? I don't think so. And the fact that the National Party won't intervene on behalf of its national members that were unjustly expelled. So Richard Strawn said, thanks for catching me up. What's it looking like at the National Convention? What are your predictions? Are we at least going to get some of the officers replaced? It depends on what day you ask me. I hope so. There's a good chance of it. But I'm not, I don't have the swagger that some people have that say, yes, definitely. Because I don't want people to become complacent. We can turn this party completely around, 180. We can. It's possible at Reno to take this party from 0 to hero. And that's what I'm hoping for. Will that happen? It will take a lot of hard work. It will take some luck. It will take some good arguments. It'll take the right people getting to Reno. But it's possible. I'm hopefully optimistic. But I tend to think it's going to be an extreme. It's either going to be great or it's going to be a disaster. I don't see a middle ground right now. But maybe it will be. But I have a lot of hope for Reno. I have a lot of hope for Reno. So if you're trying to be a delegate, please do. Please do. Because this LNC minus about 6 of them needs to go. And this party needs to get back to advocating liberty. Stop being scared to say when civil rights are being violated. They're absolute cowardice. You would think they would be screaming support from the rooftops for those brave Canadian truckers. Like everything's not their lane. This isn't our lane. This isn't our lane. But some of the most obscure stuff, which is also liberty things, all of a sudden that's their lane. In the past, the National Party on every freedom issue used to write a press release about it. It could be a huge freedom issue like a war. Or it could be something that is compared to a war, but very important to the people it affects, relatively minor, like in some cities, teenagers being banned from tanning salons. They would write press releases on both of them. They wrote one of the best press releases I've ever read when the law passed to low-flow toilets. If any of you all are of my vintage, you remember when toilets used to actually, like, if you placed a large deposit, it would go down in one flush. Today's toilets don't do that. But the LNC is too cowardly. So right now, all they're pushing is this Association of Libertarian Educators. Now, I think the Association of Libertarian Educators, that's a great idea. I'm not confident into what message are they speaking. Are they speaking abolishment of public schools? Because that is our actual position. But if you saw the Valentine's Day email today, all it mentioned was school choice. They keep, and it's funny, for all the wokeness, a lot of their talking points are strictly Republican talking points. School choice, school vouchers is a Republican talking point. We can get behind that as a halfway point, but that's not our position. Our position is the complete separation of school and state. But you don't see that. So, like, in theory, the whole idea of the Association of Libertarian Educators sounds great if they're actually advocating for the separation of school and state. But I bet you it's all about vouchers and school choice, which is great as an interim step, as long as you make sure people know it's an interim step. But the National Party is deceiving people about what our actual positions are. And you want to know what? That could be considered a form of fraud when you hide the ball from people. We need to turn this party around. And it's not for party's sake, it's for liberty's sake. In the political realm, we are the only hope for liberty. If I didn't truly believe that, I would have given this up a long time ago. Like, this party has aged me. Like, each day, if any of you are Italian, you know the word agita. I have agita every single day over this party. I don't need that. I'm doing it for liberty. I've got much more fun things I could be doing, like going in my sewing room, which is now filled with Libertarian Party shit. But I believe in it. That's why I fight. Mama didn't raise no fool. If I didn't believe in this, I wouldn't I wouldn't be wasting my time. But I don't believe it's a waste of my time. I believe it's worth fighting for. But so we had two pieces of good news today. Tara DeSisto, bye Felicia, in Delaware. Will McVeigh, bye Felicia. But Massachusetts is going to get nothing from the National Party. Shame on you. Shame on you, Beth Vest. Shame on you, John Phillips. Double shame on you, Richard Longstreth. You used to have integrity. And shame on you. Did I say John Phillips? Can say it again if I did. And Valerie Sarwark, that goes without saying. They deserve to at least you hear them out. And to vote on a motion. But no, you can't even give them that. You can't even give them the dignity of voting down a motion. I really, really hope to God no one ever treats you as you so richly deserve. Instead, as the Bible says, be kind to your enemies, be good to those who persecute you, and in so doing, you will put a heap of burning coals upon their head, because they will feel so guilty about how they didn't do that for you. All right, guys. So thank you for coming to my little rant. I'm going to go get my PJs and go to sleep. I've got a long weekend coming ahead in Virginia. If any of you are in Virginia, I will be seeing you this weekend. And please do come up and introduce yourself. Remember, I'm old. We might have met before, but I might forget. And I look forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. Uh-oh. Death has entered the chat. I love when Death comes in and just says, hello. All right, everyone. Thank you. And I hope you have an awesome evening. Mi guapas de